shining bright. Stories of struggle, stories of light.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Talk Local. I am Deke Jones, the host this time. And listen, in today's world, mom, dad are aging. There's just a ton of people who are in need of services as they age. And a lot of us, Gen Xers and younger people now, are taking care of our kids, taking care of our parents. And we don't know what or where to go with them or how to take care of things. This episode, I've got a duo here from Independence Health and Therapy who are going to answer all those questions for us. So, Lori, welcome in. John, welcome in.
Thank you.
How are you guys?
Good. We're great.
Awesome. So, as I was kind of saying, never did we think that we would be, all these boomers would be aging. And not even boomers, some Gen Xers as
Turns
well.
out we all age.
Yeah, very good, John. Right. But we never kind of saw all the needs that we were going to have for our parents and everything that's out there. And what you guys do is amazing. But tell me what got you into this sort of health care? What was it?
All right, I'll go first.
You go first.
So actually, it came about. I've been in nonprofits my entire career, and I was executive director of a smaller organization in Woodstock, and we were looking at some opportunities to expand our capacity, find partnerships. So we actually merged in with Family Alliance, which was in Woodstock at the time, and they were really the ones focused on that senior population.
Yeah.
I've been executive director of that for 8 years now, but that was kind of I merged my way into being in this sector, but
Gotcha.
Really have come to understand the impact, the importance, the growing need, and really want to make sure that we are continuing to provide those services to meet what our community needs and wants.
Awesome. And Lori, you're old friends here on the channel. So
Sure.
Why this area?
Well, I knew Independence Health and Therapy was doing great things in the community, and a position opened up as their director of programs, and I jumped right in. And I really didn't know the depth and breadth of the services that were provided for the older adults, and I've just fallen in love with what we do and how we can serve, because, as you said, the need is so great.
It's huge. So what do you do over there? What are some of the services that y'all provide?
Sure. Well, we have our adult day health and memory care program that we like to call the Daybreak Lounge. And that is a program for older adults to come and spend the day with us. We have breakfast, lunch, and an afternoon happy hour, and then a variety of activities that help engage them in great activities and social interactions. So we are engaging their brain, we're engaging their heart, and we're engaging their soul in a day that is a break for their loved one and caregiver, and a fabulous day of engagement for the person that is needing some care.
That is awesome. So and I love what you say about stimulates them and gives them community. My folks, they live in Iowa. You're 85 and 84, and a couple of years ago, they decided to sell their house and move into an apartment, 1,000 square foot apartment in a retirement community, right?
Yeah.
Because the house was big, don't have to mow the lawn. But the amazing thing for me to watch was just the community, right? They've got little breakfasts, they play,
Right.
It's really, it warms my heart that they're just not sitting at home staring at the screen,
Right.
and yelling at each other because they can't hear each other from each other's room. So you just have a place.
Right. I would say we've built a place, right?
Yeah.
So, and we've designed a program over the years that addresses that. Like, social isolation is a huge issue.
Huge.
Isolation and loneliness is an issue across the country, right? At all ages. I mean, it's been a kind of a national level conversation for several years now. But in that older adult population, it is definitely an epidemic of isolation. And so we have a program that combats that. We have a program that enables older adults to continue to live in their home and not get transferred into a long-term care facility prematurely. We structure it where 80% of our folks we pick up with our buses. We go to their door, we pick them up, we put them on our bus, we bring them in. And the 20% that don't do that, it's because they've opted not to. It's they're choosing to just bring their loved one themselves. And then to Lori's point, we engage them physically with exercise. We engage them cognitively with different activities, art, music. Everybody knows the connection with music and mind. We also track the impact of that. So we want to make sure that what we're doing has positive impact. And so we track each person individually, their cognitive decline, their physical health, their social health, their caregivers' resiliency, their satisfaction, their caregiver satisfaction. We monitor that on an ongoing basis to make sure that what we are saying we are doing and what we are doing is having an impact.
Yeah. So I marvel at it, right? Because being alone is everybody wants to be.
Right.
Until you are.
Right.
Until you are. Right?
Well, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely, right?
There you go.
I mean, that's those two very different things. And so we all need alone time, right? I mean, you want some time to yourself. You need time to yourself for your own thoughts, your own processes. But being lonely is different than being alone. And so that's really, that loneliness epidemic is really what this program is, one of the things this program addresses.
Yeah. So as you're doing this, is there a story that sticks out that you're just like, man, I wasn't sure, but holy cow, these two people just, you say you're tracking it, but you got to have a good story about the impact it had.
Lori's the story person.
Sure. Well, actually, a friend of mine and I were talking one weekend. We were out socially, and she was mentioning how lonely her mother was, and she was confined to the home. She had some physical challenges, and so she wasn't able to get out independently. And her spouse was more of a night owl. So when she was home alone watching television or staring out the window, he was sleeping. And so my friend was just distraught about how her mother was deteriorating. And I said, you need to come check out the Daybreak Lounge. And so they did. Mom came to the program. She participated and absolutely loved it. My friend told me only after a few weeks, she said, I got my mom back. She comes home. She's excited. She's talking about her new friends. She's talking about all the activities that she's doing. And it was fabulous. Well, unfortunately, over the holidays at home, she had a fall and had to get into the hospital, went into rehab. And one of the things my friend told me was that when mom was in rehab and fighting to get back the strength that she needed, she was focusing on being able to come back to the Daybreak Lounge. And sure enough, she did. And she came back and was able to participate, and everybody was happy that she returned. And she couldn't talk enough about the joy that she had in being a part of our program.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. And that's probably the first time I told that story without a few tears, but it's really touching.
The amazing thing is somebody my age, right? Mid to late 50s. We think you'll be fine. I mean, that's the way I grew up, right? You figure it out, you'll be fine. Mom and dad are indestructible.
Right.
They don't show emotions, right? They back growing up in the 70s and 80s, they were strong, right? Swallow it, all that good stuff. But then what you guys have designed is someplace where they don't have to hide that, and it really helps the families, right?
Oh, absolutely. Going back to that caregiver component, we know caregivers struggle with the responsibilities of taking care of their loved one, whether it's their mom or their dad or their spouse, a neighbor, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a straight family member, but caregivers, they struggle with that, the heaviness of that responsibility. 40% of them have physical effects from their caregiving. 30% of them have major depressive disorder symptoms coming directly from their caregiving. And if you throw Alzheimer's and dementia on top of that, that compounds that even more. And so, it's the program. When the participant is sitting in the program, they're having a great time. Yeah. And when they're there, that caregiver has the opportunity to do what they need to do for their own self.
Yeah.
Whether that's their doctor's appointments, whether that's their own socialization, whether that's working, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know that caregiving has significant impact in the workplace for lost productivity, distraction, people quitting, people moving to part-time. All of that has significant impact in the workplace. And so again, this program has twofold. It has that participant impact and it has that caregiver impact.
Yeah, because if I go to work and I'm my parents' caregiver,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at my, every time it rings or,
Right.
oh my God, are they okay?
Right.
Knowing in the back of my head, probably, yeah, they're okay. But
that still weighs,
it,
right?
right.
I mean,
It takes a lot of energy.
I'm not in the spot yet where I'm having to care for my folks, but I have a son that had, some health issues, and he called me on Friday with a fever, and it just it jacked the weekend.
Right.
And he's fine, and he
Right.
was fine by the next day, but that jacked my weekend, right?
Yeah.
And so you can't help but have those emotional responses in those situations.
Yeah.
And so again, it's a heavy responsibility. It's not one that anybody takes lightly. And so, we talk about taking a village to raise a child. I think it takes a village to support an older adult.
So I'm going to travel down a pathway here because I'm curious. So what can someone expect during their first visit? And I'm asking this because a lot of us have an idea, old folks homes, long-term
Right.
care.
Mhm.
We think of the brutality that Hollywood and everything
Right.
shows is just nasty, right? So what can the healthcare provider, what can the individual kind of expect on that first visit?
Sure. When someone calls, we spend some time telling them about the program. And just yesterday, I talked with a woman who was calling in regards to her mother and needing some care. And so we schedule a free tour. No obligation, just an opportunity to come in and meet our program manager, Christina Murphy. And I joke, but also I'm sincere about you meet Christina, you're going to fall in love with her and you're going to fall in love with the program. She spends quality time providing a tour of the center and then spends time with the loved one who might be participating in the program, as well as then the caregiver. The loved one has an opportunity to sit and interact with the guests that are there for that given day. And then Christina learns a lot about the needs of the individual who will be participating. She also learns about interests, hobbies, past professions, so that she can incorporate that into the program. So they come for the tour, and then there's usually some questions, concerns, apprehensions. Oh, I don't want to go there. Don't put me in there.
Yeah.
And
I'm not that old.
I'm not that old. Yes,
heard that several
yes, I don't need that. So we navigate that, but that tour really helps to break down some of those apprehensions.
Yeah.
And I think it does right away, because Christina and her team are so full of kindness and compassion, and they just want to help and serve the guests that come to the program. So then family usually goes home, thinks about it, and then we have an intake or an enrollment. We're actually changing the language because I think semantics makes a difference.
Big time.
And so rather than having an intake and going into a program, they're enrolling in the program as a member. And they're coming to the Daybreak Lounge. And so that first day is really just an orientation, as it would be for any of us going somewhere new. But they engage and get right in with the socialization, breakfast, lunch. We have a dog that comes for pet therapy twice a month. We have a professional musician who comes and shares her music and her instruments with the guests. And then we really just dive into engaging, creating friendships, and keeping that mind and body active throughout the day.
So cool.
And then our transportation, our buses, if the family chooses to utilize those, then we go door to door.
So you say breakfast. I mean,
Yeah.
you're out, the bus is rolling pretty early then.
Yeah, we start picking people up probably about 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So from a caregiver perspective, their loved one is gone from about 8 to 5. And it varies depending on where they live and kind of the length of the route and stuff. But that's typically about what you're looking at, is about 8 to 5, 8:30 to 4:30. So it's a full day.
Yeah.
And we have our driver, and then there's an aide on the bus who gets off the bus, goes up to the front door, gets the member participant, brings them down, puts them on. sits them into the bus, makes sure they're safe, straps them in, and then engages them in conversation, right? So from the very beginning, they're engaged in the day.
Yeah. See, that's amazing. Now, during this on, the first visit and becoming a member, how do you overcome the preconceived notion of what I would have as the caregiver? You know what I mean? So I'm thinking of Happy Gilmore, like,
Right.
But how do you do that?
I think that they come and they see it in action, right?
Okay.
So, and we've branded it the Daybreak Lounge, and we've put effort and kind of specific thought process behind what that looks like and what that means, right?
Yeah.
So, last year we called it snack time. Now it's happy hour, right? And acknowledging that these are adults, and not that we didn't ever treat them as adults before,
Right.
but again, back to semantics, it's happy hour. We've we've modernized the look and the feel in the space.
Big time.
So it doesn't feel like it's, grandma's kitchen.
Right.
It feels like a space you want to come. We've got the room, it's 2 rooms. And so we move back and forth. So there's the dining area, which we have a bar set up, and we have the little lights that say bar, and we've got the cocktail glasses. And then we have the kind of the engagement activity space. It's got sofas, it's got lounges, it's got activities and games, puzzles. And so purposely we move them back and forth so they're not sitting in one spot all the time. They get to design their activities, right? So we have a participant council every 2 months, and they say what they like to do and what they don't want to do. What food did they like? What food didn't they like? What offsite activities would they like to do? And so really is designed in part by them. They provide that feedback, and honestly, that's why we still play bingo, because they want to play bingo. It's a stereotype, and I know it is, but it's right on par, because they want to play bingo.
I've got a lot of friends who go to bars and play bingo.
Yes.
So
Right.
I don't know if it's really old, but it's coming back.
It is coming back. That's true.
And communication is the key. I mean, you mentioned, if you're the caregiver and your loved one is spending the day or a couple of days a week with us, we work to provide that communication. It may not always be face-to-face, but we have a nurse on staff because we are a medical model. We can dispense medication if needed. We talk with doctors and make sure that we're navigating anything that we might need to during the day.
Huge.
And so that's important communication. We also provide a monthly calendar. And so while there's structure to every day, there's also some flexibility in activities. And while there's
variety.
and variety. And so Fridays might be a special spa day with hair and nails for the ladies. And there might be a day for cards. There might be a day that we go out. A group just went to Mainstay to have an opportunity to be out in nature and engage with the animals. So again, it's that communication. And then many of you said about 20% of our clients are dropped off by their loved one. And so there's an opportunity to have conversations there face to face, or our staff, Christina, or our assistant manager, or our nurse may call home just to check in. And we share information about the loved one with the caregiver. And then we also provide calls to check in with the caregiver. How are you doing? What do you need? Because we also have resources for the caregivers.
That's huge.
Yeah, we do support groups, counseling. We provide kind of a deeper set of services just for the caregiver themselves.
Yeah. So if you look right over John's head, there's a QR code. That QR code is going to take you right to your website, right? So to kind of get more answers than what we're going to cover here on this quick little podcast, if you click that QR code, or down in the description, there's going to be a link as well. I'll take you right to, and then you can reach out to either John or Lori, and they're going to help you out. Now, the cool thing is, I was there, must have been 4 weeks ago or so. We had the chamber mixer there. And this place is amazing, right?
Thank you.
It's not, doesn't look like a hospital, right? And that's, I remember my great grandfather, being in the, I keep calling it the old folks homes, extended stay,
the nursing home,
the nursing home, right? And this was back in the 70s, so you got old people there. They're in wheelchairs. They're smoking.
Yellow walls, and linoleum floor, and absolutely. No,
scary as a kid.
Yes, very scary. Mhm.
And this place is so cool because you've got like the living room area, which is fantastic. So yeah, your loved one is not going to be sitting in a folding chair like
Right.
you would find at church all day,
Right.
right?
Right.
Gluing popsicle sticks
Right.
to make a log cabin or
Right.
something, right? It's not that way. And that's a lot of the
Perception.
perception that I have
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
because of the way, it was
Right.
back in the day.
Mhm.
So and check it out because it is amazing. Now, as you're doing this, what are some of the misconceptions that you deal with? Because I don't know if there's a ton of these, right? A lot
Right.
of a lot of and the cost. We'll get back to that in a
Right.
minute because I was just talking with someone who has two parents in long-term care, and it's like $16,000 a
Right.
month,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
right?
Right.
And that's very, very expensive. And meanwhile, someone like my in-laws, they paid their house off back in the 70s,
Mhm.
so that doesn't
Right.
really cost them much, right? But
Right.
what are some of those misconceptions that you guys help overcome?
I think so. To back it up, we are the only medically modeled program in the county, right? So, and across the country, there's maybe 5,000 to 7,000 programs that are. So there's different levels of care, if you will. So you've got a social model that's strictly, essentially a social club. You've got more of the medical model. So we have the nurses on staff. We're doing that medication management. We're doing the medical monitoring, tracking that information. And then you've got even a higher level of acute care beyond us. It includes older adults, but also includes those programs that serve folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities. There's crossover between those. There are actually even some, and not really around here that I'm aware of, behavioral health specific day programs. So for us, we're the only one in the county. And I think, and you tack onto this, I think the biggest misconception is there is no conception. So it is, and I hate the phrase "the best kept secret" because everybody is the best kept secret.
That's
But
right.
you're not looking for us until after you found that you need us.
Right.
But when you're looking for us, it's hard for people to really grasp who we are and what we offer in a succinct way versus other services. So whether it's you want to perceive it one way or the other, everybody understands long-term care.
Yep.
I think everybody readily understands in-home care because it's right there in the name.
Right.
An adult day memory care program is a little harder for people. You don't want to call it daycare because that's, again, going back to
It's
these
a
are adults,
childhood,
not 3-year-olds. And so I think it's creating the right conception versus eliminating misconceptions.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is that we find that the caregivers think they just need to do it. They just need to take care of it.
that's
I don't need,
It's my responsibility.
right.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need or want to help because I'm supposed to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm, I would say, I don't know the numbers, but I think most of the caregivers are women.
Mhm.
And, we just put another hat on.
Yeah.
We're mother, wife, sister, daughter, friend, and caregiver. It was interesting, and I haven't had a chance to share this story with you yet. But
Breaking news.
There we
breaking
go.
news. Well, a family member is has her husband had a stroke. And so they've been navigating that and over a year. And she just posted some things, and she talked about how she was in the hospital this time, and the nurse said, "Are you his caregiver?" And she said, "I'm his wife." And she said, "So you're his caregiver?" And she said, "I'm his wife."
Right.
And she was insulted
Yeah.
by the fact that this hospital person kept insisting that she was his caregiver. So I think it's that misconception of I need to do this alone, or I need to do this by myself. I mean, not that we ever choose to do it alone, but I think that is what we try to overcome. And that stigma, just like with mental health, asking for help, that responsibility of, well, I just need to take care of myself and figure it out alone. And whether it's mental health or it's caregiving, we don't have to. And there's a place like the Daybreak Lounge where we can help relieve you of some of that burden. We think about it, we can describe it as a backpack, and you've got guilt and shame and
So is there
responsibility.
an age limit for the daybreak, or
No, so we have technically it's 18 and up, right? So it's for adults. We lean into that older adult population,
Sure.
but it really is that 18 and up. So we've had a spread of 25 years to 105 years in the same room at the same time. We had a young man with a traumatic brain injury that needed a place to go, and he came to us. And at the same time, we had an older participant. She turned 105 while she was in our program. So we tend to that older part, right? I would say statistically, we probably have 90% of our folks are 75 and up.
Yeah.
We have a gentleman who's in his 40s, early onset dementia. We have a couple of folks probably in their 50s with traumatic brain injuries because they need a place to be for the day, right? So their loved one, their caregiver can be at home in the night, but they need a place to go in the day.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring that up because, I don't, oh, you're too young, right?
Right.
So, no, if you need that place,
Right.
that's what this lounge is for.
Yeah.
Is fantastic. And now, are they capable of, so my folks can still get around. They drive themselves.
Yeah.
It's okay if they drive themselves there, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think we have anybody who specifically drives themselves, but
Right.
it would be fine. The things that kind of prevent participation in our program are more either on a cognitive decline state or a physical decline state. So if physically they require two of our aides to move them from spot to spot, that's beyond our capacity because we aren't a 1-to-1 direct care. We are 7-to-1 is what we aim for. So we have 4 aides on the floor. We have a nurse or 2 there. We have, other staff that are there, but really, if you're requiring 2 people to move, that's beyond our capacity. If you can't feed yourself, that's beyond our capacity. And then there's some, behaviors, violence behaviors, sexual behaviors that we couldn't entertain. If it's something that we can manage, we'll manage it. But if not, then we would have to have a conversation with the family about it.
So, do you also have on staff, or I know you guys have great partnerships, people who can help families navigate through their healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid, all that kind of stuff? Or how does that work? Because I'm sure you get those questions all the time.
I think it's the partnerships that we have and navigating. You mentioned funding or cost, and we'll dive into that, but there are funds available. And so Christina and her team help families navigate seeking those funds. The Illinois Department on Aging has funds available, and we have just lots of resources, and we've got a lot of partners in the county here, and we will connect with them. Senior Services Associates is a close partner, and they will help us help the families navigate the Medicare, Medicaid, the next step. If someone does get to the point where they're not eligible to continue in our program, then again, Christina and her team will help provide referrals and warm handoffs.
Yeah,
and
I love
entities.
that because as a caregiver, that's usually where you stop because I don't know what I don't know, and I don't know the next step.
Right.
But by getting involved with you guys, you can say, hey, I got a guy, I got a gal.
Right.
Here, let's
Go
talk
to them.
Yeah. And it is such a bumpy road with all the fraud and everything else that's out there. Elder abuse is, I was in banking for years and years, and elder abuse is one of the largest things that we always had to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so having you guys there to help navigate that a little bit with the caregivers is huge. I absolutely love it. So how long does somebody join? So you say you got memberships, right? So I'm thinking like a golf club or something. And so does somebody come in and say, hey, I'm a member for a year, and then
it kind of runs the gamut. So we have folks that come in for 6 months, and at that point something needs to change in their world. We have folks that have been with us 5, 7, 10 years. We have a woman who's probably going to be discharged in the next month or so, has been with us for 4 years, has dementia, and kind of anecdotally I know that she stayed with us for 4 years
Yeah.
because she was able to stay with us because we extended out that lifespan or that wellness span
Yeah.
for her. And that because we know that our program delays that cognitive decline.
Yeah.
We know it delays that physical decline. And so, and you kind of talk to cost, $8,000 a month for a long-term care facility. You can come to us 5 days a week for probably about $2,500 a month, including the transportation.
Come on.
You get breakfast, lunch, activities, engagement, right, for $2,500
Right.
a month versus that long. So,
Yeah.
you stretch that out. We saved that family,
Hundreds.
$5,000 a month for 2 years. That's that's $100,000,
Yeah.
$120,000. So that's that impact. And so, but yeah, we have folks that stay with us for a long time. Especially, you look at somebody who comes in with a traumatic brain injury in their 50s.
Yeah.
They can be with us for a long time.
Yeah.
That's our goal, really,
Yeah.
right? I mean, our goal is to keep people healthy, happy, and living at home.
Yeah. And the savings are a ton more because I don't feel guilty because I put them there.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
I can focus on my work as a
Mhm.
caregiver because I know that they're being active and
Right.
not just sitting in a chair, staring at,
Right.
the TV or whatever.
Well, and Lori mentioned our nurses. We do monthly weigh-ins.
Wow.
We do medication management. We catch things before they become a problem. So
Yeah.
if we start to see a little bit of a behavior change, we'll have a conversation with the family to say, hey, you might want to take them in and check for a UTI, right? Because we know that UTIs in older adults create mental responses or mental health responses. And so, again, we track all of this information, and we know that people in our program don't go to the hospital unexpectedly at far less frequently. They go to the hospital less frequently than their peer population. Our target is less than 20% of them go to the hospital unexpectedly in a year. We're averaging 5% or less.
Wow.
So we are keeping close tabs on their physical and mental health.
Do you have a program just for husbands? Because my wife, I'm sure, would love to help my cognitive.
She could bring you for a tour. See if you want to start coming.
A couple
That's
days a week.
Yeah.
She
Hey,
can
you
get some
never know.
respite, and you can hang out and have some fun.
She would just, if you said help cognitive, I was like, I better ask her. No, I'm kidding. Anything else you guys want to lay out there? Because I think it's great. And again, if you hit the QR code right above John, the link is in the description. But the best thing I can recommend is to get in contact with them and start having a conversation. They will walk you through everything, and if it's right, it's going to be right.
Right.
And if it isn't, you'll know.
Right.
Right. But anything else that we didn't cover that you want to make sure that we get?
Well, I would offer up Medicare is not paid for this program in the past.
Okay.
It has been basically the VA will pay for it. So if somebody's on the has VA
Fantastic.
benefits, the VA will pay for this program. Some long-term care insurances, but in the past 2 years, the Medicare's rolled out a pilot project specifically around folks with dementia. So if somebody has Medicare A and B and has a dementia diagnosis, they're eligible to participate in this guide model project.
Fantastic.
And the guide model provides wraparound services in lots of different ways, access to 24-hour nursing input care, information referral, supports for caregivers. But they are also providing for us up to 25 days a year of respite care that is charged to the Medicare. So it's not free, but it is no cost to the participant to participate because they're beginning to recognize the impact and need for respite care for caregivers. And so there's probably close to 5,000 people in McHenry County that have a diagnosis of dementia. And so if they are in that spot and they have Medicare and B, they won't let you do it if you're in Medicare Advantage plans. But if you have regular straight old Medicare, you can call us or reach out to us and we can help kind of guide you through that. Pardon the pun, but this is a new initiative, and I think it's the beginning of some really good support for caregivers.
Yeah. Which is needed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I think what I'd like to share is that you may know someone. So your
Mhm.
listeners may know someone who might need our services. And I think, when we're just focusing ourselves, oh, I don't need it, or my family doesn't need it. But I bet you know someone. And the story I shared earlier, that was it. It was just, I had no idea her mom was struggling. And so it's who do you know, and share our information with them, and we'd be happy to assist.
I love that. So you said there's like 5,000 or 7,000.
Yeah.
Similar to you.
Yeah.
Do you have connections? Because if somebody sees this in, Tennessee,
Right.
can
Actually,
they still reach out to you?
I got a guy in Tennessee.
Hey,
Actually,
I got a guy.
So I am this year the chair of the National Association for the Adult Day Services Association. And so they have a website. So natsa.org, I think it is. But yeah, so if you Google that, they have a roster of their members across the country. But you can always reach out to me and I can connect. But yeah, I got a guy in Tennessee.
That's it.
I got somebody in, Connecticut and Massachusetts. I got all over Texas. I got folks. So
that's it. And listen, folks, I know you can't feel it coming through your phone or the computer, whatever you're watching this on. But if you can feel the energy that these two have, they're passionate about this, right? It's not clinical. Right. You go to a lot of places and it's very clinical. These two have a passion for this that is just, it gives me goosebumps. It's really pretty cool. And what you guys are doing is just amazing to me. And any way that we can help you out, let us know. We would love to. But listen, click that QR code one more time and go to their website. And any other way that they can get in touch with you?
Well, our phone number is 815-338-3590. Good job. That's how we partner.
Teamwork.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes the dream work.
That's it.
Can I just tack on one more thing?
Absolutely. It's your show.
I would be remiss to say that we have the day program and we've talked about that. Yeah. We also offer behavioral health services.
Yes.
So we have geriatric psychiatrist. We have a pediatric psychiatrist. We have an adult psychiatrist. We have counselors that serve from ages 6 and up. And so, the day program really focuses typically on the older adult. From an agency service perspective, we offer services from ages 6 on up, and especially in that behavioral health side. And so we know in the county that across the country, there's a need for mental health services. Psychiatry carries long wait lists and long wait times. And so, we're really trying to make sure that we can provide a breadth of service to meet those needs in that community.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And that's all listed right on the website.
It's all on the website. Yep.
There's so much more that you guys do. We may have you come back and talk about the other things too.
That'd be great.
As a follow-up, because it's just, it's so needed, but it's so awesome what you guys do. Yeah. And the passion that you put into it is remarkable. Thank you. Hey, that's going to do it for this episode of Let's Talk Local. Remember, it's your dime, so let's talk local.
Every story's worth a little bliss. From the heart of the town to the open air, let's talk local. We're taking you there. 216 Creative Studios, where the magic starts. Local businesses, their real work of arts. From the